Are you ready?
Hola amigos, this is Thunder Rosa, and thank you for listening to SOW Wrestling. And tonight we're gonna talk about my MMA experience, my NWA experience, and of course the talk of the night everywhere I go, my dog Drago. So stay tuned and listen to this awesome podcast.
Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? From the fans to the fans, let me hear the crowd pop. So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? From the fans to the fans, let me hear the crowd pop. So take a shot. Oh yeah, so take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, so take a shot.
Family, welcome to another exciting edition of A Shot of Wrestling, the interviews. If you're ready and willing, I'm able. And if you have not done so already, follow us on all forms of social media at A Shot of Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, and Shot of Wrestling, no A, on Twitter. You can also contact us via email at inbox@ashotofwrestling.com or dial it up 619-343-3005 and leave your comments on a Shot of Wrestling hotline. Now we say it time and time again that wrestling brings us together, and today is no different. Today we are joined by someone who has been on my list of people to interview for a very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, this female needs no introduction. Thunder Rosa. Welcome to A Shot of Wrestling.
Hi guys, how are you?
Oh, we are doing really well because, like I said, I've been watching your career blossom in the last few years, and just to hear your name everywhere, it's nice. It's a pleasure to see someone who's very hardworking, who is very humble, and lets her body of work speak for itself. Looking at your career when you got started to where it is now, is there anything that you would change?
You know what? I think every step that we took, not talking we, because like it's my husband and I, we're always together working on this and making mistakes, doing this and that. I don't think we would have changed anything because it made us, or it made me like now who I am as a competitor, as a wrestler, and now, a soon-to-be professional MMA fighter.
And what are those moments in your life that have made you who you are?
Let's see. Losing $3,000 when I first signed up for school, then feeling like I was not getting the support that I needed. I think that was like a big time for motivation for us to like grind harder.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Drug was like always in my interviews complaining about something.
Well, there's many topics we're going to talk about today. Drago is one of our topics. Was it love at first sight?
Dude, I didn't pick him. It was my husband who was like, that's him. I like him. I like it because I liked a beagle, a female beagle, like a really pretty one. And she was like, no, she's too diggity, or we should pick him. And I was like, and he didn't like to play. He was just really quiet. And now it's been a year. And now he's bitching all the time. He's waking up at 7:30, like literally in my face, like, for me to take him out. Or like if I come like really, really late, like there's been occasions where I have had no sleep. I just need to come sleep a couple hours and then get at the airport. He will whine and whine and whine until I take him out. And he just want to go outside and play. And I'm like, it's 3 in the morning. Like, so right now he's like attentively sitting, waiting for my husband to give him some peanut butter and a snack.
Dogs just freaking love peanut butter, though.
Oh, yes.
I used to have dogs for a long time. Then when my son was born, my dog passed away, which was a very hard thing for me, but it also kind of wasn't a blessing because I had no idea how I was going to take care of a newborn. And a dog, like you said, you have to walk them and they kind of get used to your schedule. How does your dog get used to your schedule? Because I could only imagine it's not a frequent thing every day.
He knows what I'm leaving. Like, he gets super needy. And then he starts like crying because he wants me to take him out before I leave. And, or like he sits on my stuff, on my merchandise. And it's so embarrassing because like every time I give him merchandise, like there's dog hair everywhere. And I'm like, sorry, Robbie. But he's just like, he's a little baby. And I'm like, all my friends is like, he's such your baby. Like, he loves you. Like, and he really does. Like, he will attack everybody in the house but me.
New York, it's a very pet-friendly kind of area, unless you have an apartment. But in New York, I find it really interesting because people have like dog walkers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, don't have a pet if you're going to have someone else do the dirty work for you. You know, do you enjoy your walks with your dog?
No. Sometimes.
Maybe you need a dog walker.
No, he's just sometimes he's so too much. He likes to pull and like he likes to do his own thing, and sometimes he's like really cool. When we used to take him to the dog park, he like be doing his own thing and stuff, so that was fun. But then when we take him to a new place, he has a problem with anxiety. I mean, he's a rescue dog, so he has a lot of anxiety problems. So we try not to take him out when there's a lot of people or a lot of noise because he gets freaked out. Like my neighbors, every time my little neighbors, I have like 3 girls that are my neighbors, and they're always playing in the hallway. He's terrified of the girls. If the girls are on the hallway, he will not get up or he will not leave. And I have to ask the girls, can you go inside that apartment? I need to get the dog inside.
Oh, man.
He will not. Yeah, he's terrified of a girl.
That's
which is kind of funny.
Well, I do want to touch a little bit on this topic because my dogs have always been rescue dogs, and I love that your dogs is too. There's so many great dogs, great pets out there, need a second chance at life, need someone to love them and care for them. So if you are interested in getting a pet, definitely rescue, in my suggestion, is the way to go. And I love that yours is a rescue too. Where did the name Drago come from, I wonder?
Well, I was done with Lucha Underground, and I really love season 3 when I was like dragging Drago from a chain, and then I told my husband, I was like, man, I really want to name him Drago, but let's put a couple of names on Twitter and see what the people say.
Yeah.
Like with Drago, Lucilla, Vader, and Drago was like number 1. A lot of people thought it was because of Rocky, but it's not because of Rocky. It's because of Drago, the wrestler. It's like I feel like still empowered that I can drag him around, and I'm still the queen, and he's my servant.
Now, before you got into wrestling, your life was a very structured life. You got into wrestling a little bit later, like when most people would have said, I've been watching wrestling all my life. I've always wanted to be a wrestler. This is what I was born to do. You may have been in that, like, I think your family was definitely into Lucha Libre, but you yourself, were you inspired early on by wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, wrestling was definitely a getaway from my normal life. I used to be a social worker, and I used to work in a really stressful place. So every first Friday of the month, my husband and a couple of friends will go to like this show called Hood Slam, which is still running in Oakland, and it was just like madness. It was craziness, and I was just always getting into it with the wrestlers, and we sit on the same corner, and like everybody knew us because we were always be sitting there and having fun. And then one day my husband was like, maybe you should start being a wrestler. And I was just like, nah, man, you're crazy. He's like, nah, for real. And then we went to see a show because one of my friends, Donovan Troy, who's still doing ring announcing and managerial stuff in the Bay Area, he was doing ring announcing for APW in Hayward, California at the Garage. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, not at all, but fill me in.
Yeah, you should go online on YouTube and YouTube it. Greg Younger used to go there. Watch Beyond the Mat, the documentary. Guy there, that guy, he was the owner, passed away. So I went to a regular show because that Hood Slam is kind of like more like fuck the fans, do this. It's like everybody gets wasted and have fun. And it was very entertaining. That's what I loved because it was a lot of entertaining more than the wrestling part. Then I went to APW and I was like, holy Jesus, like this wrestling is legit, And I did a tryout and I actually was like, damn, I think I can do this. So I got hooked. It was like a drug, My husband gave me the getaway drug. I got hooked at APW and that was it.
Wow. How did you guys meet? Because your husband's coming up along this conversation a lot. And I love the fact that, you're talking about you and the wrestling business as decisions that you guys as a family are making. And that's really important to me because, we're just getting our feet wet in the business and getting to meet everybody. And I always ask, how do you guys balance it?
I mean, I always say that when wrestling is over, he will be still with me. Before wrestling, he was with me. So no matter what happens, like we're gonna be together. Like that's one thing I always say because like sometimes wrestling like makes people grow apart, you know, and
Yeah.
like that's really hard. And
We've heard a lot of stories like that.
yeah, no. Like people been together for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden one day they're just like, I'm done, and then they like start dating all the people, and it's over. I'm really blessed that I've married my best friend, and we're best friends. And when there's like important decisions that need to be made, like we talk about them, and we're like, all right, like with all the stuff that's been happening in my career right now, everything happened at the same time. You know, like Combate America like contacted me, then like WWE contacted me, then like NWA contacted me, and then we were just like, holy shit, what are we gonna do? You know, and it's just like, so we balance everything out, and like we make the decisions on doing certain stuff, but some stuff didn't pan out. But what the decisions that we make right now are the best for our family, because we don't have to move. My son doesn't have to move to another school. You know, that's another thing, because we just got him like 2 years ago, and we don't want to disrupt him. He's training. He's making friends. He's building community. We're also building community, you know, with our own stuff, like with my school now, with the MMA, and now Brian and my friend Jeremiah running Mission Pro Wrestling in here. So it's like, that's a lot of stuff. So you got to think about it. And yes, it might not be, like, we're not getting rich or richer or whatever, but we're happy, you know. So that's the decisions that we make, it's because they're going to make us happy.
Yeah, well, let's get right into those decisions because they were big decisions. Combate America, MMA. Now, you've followed the sport of MMA for times. You've been in love with jiu-jitsu for a very long time. Where did that love for competition come in?
I think of the fact that my parents never let me do any sports.
Really?
And I always wanted to do sports. Yeah, the only time I did sports when I was like in third grade. I went like consistently to basketball practice by myself because my parents never took me. So I'll walk to basketball court. It was just like a community thing, and the guy was a volunteer, and I really, really enjoyed it. That was like one of the most enjoyable things that I did when I was like 9, 10. And then in Mexico, not all the schools have PE. So when I moved to this place, they had PE. So I fell in love with sports. I was like, man, this is fun, because I used to always play in the streets with my friends. But never like organized sports or like learn how to do like a regular thing besides soccer, because everybody plays fucking soccer in Mexico.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to play soccer. So I did that, and then middle school I wanted to do the same thing, but because of X, Y, and Z, I was never able to compete. But I was athletic, but I was, like I said, never able to compete. When I was able to compete was when I was in high school in Mexico. But because I had to work to take care of my family, I was not able to make it to the training. So therefore, I was not able to go and do like soccer, because that's the only thing that I thought. Well, that's the only thing that was available. It was soccer, or I think it was porras, which is like
what's that?
No. What is cheerleading?
Okay.
Like cheerleading.
Yeah.
Cheerleading.
Like competitive cheerleading.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna do cheerleading, man. Like, you don't have money for that stuff. So
yeah, that sport is expensive too.
No, so once I moved to the United States when I was a senior, and we had to have PE for a whole year, I was in heaven. I was like, man, I learned how to like lift weights. They introduced me to like different sports. Again, I was allowed to do stuff like that, and I was like in awe. And then in college, I was able to take sports like a class, so I can learn from 0 to 100, like what to do. Like I took tennis, I learned how to swim, I took volleyball, soccer. I learned how to do all the sports that I want to do at an older age. So yeah, like it was so much fun, and that's how like I became so competitive. Then once I was able to do wrestling, it just, you know, my love for sports in general grew so much more, and like the fact that I was able to like sculpt my body the way that I wanted to by dieting, by learning about the body, by learning about body mechanics, but you know, investing in a dietitian and a trainer, Alberto Sevilla from Mexico, you know. Then I started through a friend that was a wrestler too. He introduced me to jiu-jitsu like 2.5 years ago, and I really enjoy it. I tried it in Oakland, but I never like really stick to it because I was traveling a lot. And here I was just, I don't know, I like the people at the gym, and then I just started going and stuff, and it's just like the fact that you earn every stripe and every belt and everything by hard work. They don't give it to you. You have to go. You have to show up. You got to show the work. You got to, you know, you got to show that you know these things. And like, you know, getting a belt, like your blue belt, your purple belt, your brown belt, is like getting a championship belt. But this is the way you earn it, you know. And like, in MMA, man, being in the cage is something else. It's just like, just such a rush of like adrenaline, and just like you get 15 minutes to be freaking wild, and they give you pretty much a license to kill, which is technically what it is. So, but it's so much consistency and it's so much dedication, and there's no shortcut for this sport at all. Like I've learned so much about myself. I learned so much about your limits, like mental, spiritual, physical. It's like it's incredible.
Emotional.
Oh my God, dude! Yes, it is. Like when you're, especially now, when you're cutting, and you're like exercising like absolutely like an insane person because you want to be and perform at your best when you get in the cage. It's so important, and like some days, man, is like you're battling with yourself because you're like, man, I'm hungry, but I gotta perform, I gotta learn this, and I gotta get it. But it's beautiful because there's so many different things that you can do. You Muay Thai, boxing, grappling, jiu-jitsu, like all this is like encompassed in MMA. So you're just not learning one thing; you're learning several different things. So it's beautiful, and then the relationships that you build with other people that wrestling brought to me, and now they're like involved with MMA. It's just like it's so beautiful. I have not. Everybody's been like super supportive, from especially my fans and other sponsors from wrestling. And now that I'm jumping into MMA, it's been pretty freaking awesome.
So with MMA now, are you going to be creating a balance between MMA and wrestling, or are you going to be more focused with your MMA career?
It is a balance. That's another thing that I like Combate, is I'm able to continue with my wrestling career, because this is just going to build more into both, like being able to do both and perform. It's very important. And now I am jumping into the next question that you're probably going to ask me. NWA came at the right moment, at the right time on my lap. It was, so I had to make a decision between becoming a referee for WWE,
okay, or
signing the contract for Combate America. And then I was going to go and do the tryout for a referee position, but Dorian happened and my flights kept getting, rescheduled. So my tryout got canceled, and that was a sign for me to be like, nope, it's time for me to fight. Like I was already putting all this time into a fight, and I want to fight. Yes, for some people it might be like as stupid a decision because you're like sacrificing the stability and you're not going to the E. How come? But that's not my passion. I probably would have been one of the greatest Mexican referees ever in the history of WWE, but that's not what I'm in this world for. And I know the universe, God, my higher power put that in there and made Dorian pass through Florida so I can make a decision that is going to make me happy and is like it's going to challenge me mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that's becoming an MMA fighter. And then NWA knock on my door and be like, hey, you want to be part of NWA? And I was just like, duh, yeah. So it's just like being patient. That's like another thing about, like jiu-jitsu. You got to be patient sometimes, and just like patient, like, and then strike at the right moment. So that's what happened with NWA. I've been in talks with David Lagana for a while, and he was just be patient. But you hear that so much in professional wrestling that you're just like, man, nothing's going to happen, man. Like so many times people give me like, man, like we're gonna work on making you a star, blah 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 blah. Like when I was in Lucha Underground, it's like one of the things that I stuck with them for so long because I thought this was gonna take me further than I thought, and like it didn't pan out the way that I thought because again, it wasn't my character, it wasn't Thunder Rosa, and NWA wanted Thunder Rosa. They didn't want anybody else. They didn't want Serpentine. They didn't want Cobra Moon. They wanted Thunder Rosa, which is like huge for me and for my husband because we've been working on this character, which is technically me, but we've been working on this character for so long and we've been rejected so many times. And yes, everybody's like, oh yeah, she's a great wrestler. Oh my God, she's a great performer. But nobody ever gave me a platform as Thunder Rosa to shine, to show who I really am and what I've been working on for the last 7-8 years, and NWA came at the right moment, at the right time. And like, when we saw that the introduction of Thunder Rosa and NWA, it gave me the chills. And like a couple of my really close friends were like, man, I watched that and it just gave me the chills. I'm so proud of you. Like, this is like the Thunder Rosa we want to see, like a badass Thunder Rosa. So I'm like, I wanted to cry, and like Billy Corgan has been like really supportive on social media. He's been like mentioning me and how like proud they are about me.
That's awesome, man.
Going into like MMA and then like being part of the crew, because I mean, not everybody can do this, man. It's just a lot of work and it's just like a lot of commitment, and I'm really happy that NWA is giving me that platform. And like I mentioned in one of my posts today, this is like one of my friends when I was in Georgia. He's a big wrestling fan, and he's like, the NWA created and built legends of wrestling. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I hope I become one. And he's like, you're not hoping, you will become one because you're in the NWA. And I was like, oh, that just hit me,
And speaking of like legendary people, and you becoming that legendary person, that word legend is also a responsibility as a role model. And I think you're doing something big, not just for you and your family, but I think you're going to be breaking barriers for women in the sport of wrestling. Was it hard for you as a woman to get into the mix in a male-dominated sport?
I'm going to tell you, being a woman of color is hard, as it is, and just in regular life, because people look at you with a different lens, I will say. And I have an accent, I'm not.
Even with someone with your heritage, like, Lucha Libre lives very big in Mexico.
Okay, first of all, that's one of the things that pissed me off when I started wrestling. I wanted to be seen as a wrestler, like American wrestler. I trained American wrestling. I went to an American school, and I go to Japan. They're like, "You're doing lucha," and I just look at them. I'm like, "Do I look like I do lucha? Like, just because I speak Spanish and I hang out with my friend that wears a mask doesn't mean that I'm a luchadora."
Right.
But then right there, I learned that there was gonna be those stereotypes. In the business, So I was like, all right, I'm going to have to learn lucha, So I bit my tongue, and like, I was so against it. I didn't want to wear a mask on purpose because I wanted to, you're like in a conflict. You want to be American, but you're not really American. So I was like, oh, fuck, well, I have to do what I got to do. So I ended up doing lucha, and like, but then that opened doors for me to be in Lucha Underground. And I had to learn lucha, and I learned lucha, and I love it, and I have a lot of fun, but I'm more of a hybrid wrestler. And just like going back to your question, yeah, it was difficult, man. It was difficult because also I like to speak my mind sometimes, and because I'm very passionate, and because of my accent, people think I'm mad all the time, but I'm not. So yeah, like I noticed that some people will get some opportunities, and I noticed that also their the genetic mate is not a person of color. Let's say, and I'm going to start from the top. There is almost no women of color on top that are champions at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Look at every single promotion right now. Maybe in AEW, the Japanese girl, but that was it. But look at every single promotion and tell me, is there a Mexican American? Is there an African American? Is there a Chinese American as a champion? Absolutely not. So yeah, right there and then, I know that we're at a disadvantage. So I have being a woman and being a woman of color as a disadvantage. However, NWA has shown right now that has like the most diverse women locker room. Yeah. Most of them we are all from different backgrounds, but a lot of us are Latinas, which is weird to see, and we're like we're on top, which is like so empowering, and it feels so good that for the first time I'm like, oh, she looks like me. It feels cool. Oh, she looks like me. This is pretty freaking cool. Besides being a lucha show, this is an American show, so that is pretty cool. So I have to give it to NWA for bringing more women of color into the mix. So with that said, I think I'm done with it.
Is there any difference in NWA since the environment looks different? Being in a studio.
Yeah, you don't come out with music. It's like you are there to showcase who you really are and to bring the presence before you get in the ring. So it's like a lot of people are like, oh man, that's kind of weird. No, it's not weird. That's when you know if you can work the crowd or not. And you go through the lens, you know, it's like it goes through the lens. It's just like you come out and look at people and just like connect immediately or not, you know. So for me, it was like just bringing my presence and my character and my charisma in there, you know.
You have a very nice character too, I have to say. We saw you at Shine when you and Holiday get together as the Twisted Sisters, and it's something that communicates to the audience from the way you look, you present yourself, the high energy as soon as you get through the curtain, which is freaking awesome to feel that as a wrestling fan. What has been the evolution of your character? What are some of the things that you've paid attention to and said, you know, I'm going to tweak this, I'm going to work this out a little bit differently to be who you are today?
Well, at first I did no makeup, so it was Melissa Cervantes, but in Thunder Rosa, it didn't really work out very well. I mean, I connected with a lot of fans, but I think the face paint after Japan and the resemblance of, or the representation of what the face paint means, like that really made a connection. And then also I feel like a lot of people say this, my physical appearance, because I'm short, I'm like a little, I'm petite, but I'm jacked, and I always been like super anal about being in shape, because I am a professional wrestler. That means I am a professional athlete. So I take that very, very serious, very, very serious. And I feel like people were like, man, you're like the most in shape person in the room. And I was just like, yeah, that's exactly right, because I'm a fucking professional wrestler.
Yeah.
So that, and then it's just like.
So how does it make you feel when, like, that's not the norm in professional wrestling? You know, I think in the last few years, you've seen a lot of male wrestlers probably be the most out of shape guys out there.
Well, I'm not going to do body shaming, you know, because right now there's a lot of like, oh, yeah, it's body shaming. Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody has different bodies. It's fine. But for me, I take this, like I said, I didn't do sports when I was young, and I took this at heart when I was training at SOW Gold Mine. They made us train without our shirts on because they wanted to make sure that we noticed the difference in our bodies when we started and then when we debuted. Because if you work on your body, that means like you care for yourself. And I think that gives you longevity in life, you know. This is a very taxing sport. You have to be on top of your game, because if you don't, like, you can have like really, really serious injuries, you know. I think thankfully, like, being in a decent shape, like, really helped me to like overcome some of the injuries that I had, you know, and like the more that I'm learning right now about the body, about nutrition, about everything, it just makes me more conscientious about my future as a woman, as a mother, you know, and as a professional athlete. So, yeah, it is. I mean, it's sad that, you know, people see this sport in a different way. Some people see it as an entertainment. Some people see it as a real thing. For me, it's as a mixture of both.
You do have a great body, and it looks like you put a lot of time into it. If someone wanted to have a body like you and be jacked, what are some of the things that you would advise us to do? What is your training schedule?
Well, right now, it's not the norm. I mean, I'm cutting weight for a fight. I train about between 3 to 6 hours a day, depending on the day.
Oh, wow.
I eat really clean. You can ask my husband, do I eat junk food? Never eat junk food.
Does he eat junk food?
Oh, this is my son and my husband. They are on another diet. You know, I cook my meals and then I cook food for them. So that's another thing. Like,
because I'm trying to get in shape, but my wife over here, I feel like she don't even care that I'm even going to be trying. You know, like she loves junk food. She loves sour cream and onion chips. She loves Twinkies, and she keeps that shit all around.
No, I do the grocery shopping, so I do not bring junk food in this house. Like, if my husband wants to have snacks, he has like caramel or chocolate rice cake and peanut butter and protein bar. I don't bring junk food because I am a junkie. Like, I love to eat like rancherito, chicharrones, cacahuates, like a Mexican candy. I like raspado.
Put that on everything.
I like ice cream. I like everything, you know. And if it's in the house, I eat the whole bag. And like, that's not good because, you know, my son loves junk food too. So if they eat junk food, it's not at the house, and it's not because of me. But it is tough to cut weight because everybody be eating, or they be sending me pictures of what they eat, and I'm just be like, well, you're messed up. But yes, like I will say, do your research and see what works for you. I will recommend to, if you can afford it, to get a nutritionist, somebody that's really, really good and can help you just with like educating yourself on how to eat and what to eat, because that's important. Not to limit yourself on not eating like things that you like, but start cutting on things that you know are not very good for you and replace them with things that you might like and you want to eat. And that's one thing a lot of people don't like, is like you won't be eating the same thing over and over again. And they're like, oh my God, I'm eating the same thing. I'm not. I love my avocados. I love my spinach. I love my fruit when I can have fruit. I love tuna. I am really blessed that my mom used to have or make a lot of different foods at the house. First I didn't like them when I was little, but now I enjoy them. Like eggplants, like chickpeas. What else?
I think your taste buds kind of get adjusted to the healthy food. Like, because I'm starting to feel that change. Like before, like I would come home and I would crave like potato chips or like nacho cheese. And now like as I'm starting to eat a little healthier, like I'm starting to crave different things. And I'm starting to crave more like, I can't wait to like have a salad, like just that crunchy freshness, or eat an apple. So I feel like taste buds kind of adjust themselves to you.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to crave for those things. I crave for sugar all the time. Like, I love sugar. I love candy. But I can't have it right now. I mean, I have, like, sugar-free yellow, with whipped cream. And that calms my sugar thing. And right now I'm, like, drinking tea like crazy. So, it's, like, you just have to, like, change certain things. And, like, it's, like, you can do flexible eating, and where you eat the things that you like, but you eat them in like small quantities. And it's all about like balance.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing for me. But I wish you the best in like, this training for this big fight coming up. What else is going on in your mind? You're trying to cut weight. Is MMA going to, since you're a professional wrestler crossing over, are you going to bring some of that wrestling style, like the pageantry about the entrances or, the way you look, or that kind of entertainment factor into MMA? Or is it just going to be mostly focused about the fight?
No, the fight is going to be the fight. That's no question about it. But I don't know. I'm going to let you guys figure it out. You have to see, you have to watch the weigh in, and you have to watch my entrance. But, I mean, we thought about everything. My husband already posted the banner on my social media, and he has my face painted in there with all the sponsors and, the school that I train with, which I'm, like, really blessed with. All the people that sponsor me for this fight camp, without their help, their financial support, believe me, it would have been a little bit harder, because it costs a lot of money, recovery, like boxing gloves, like wraps, clothes, food for Drago that is crying right now. My backpack, because I have to get everything. I didn't have like the right equipment, so it's expensive. So again, I cannot stress how thankful I am for all the people that believe in me. No matter what happens, they support me 100%.
If we wanted to support you, let us know. How could we do that?
Well, you can buy my merch at Big Cartel. My shirts from my fight are coming up. I only made 30, so you can totally support me on that.
Whoa. Exclusive. I like that.
Yeah, and also, I accept donations. Some of my fans, they didn't want to be named on as sponsors, but they were very kind enough to like give me a certain amount of money for whatever I needed. Which that moves me, and I'm like, there's like 3 or 4 occasions in this interview that I wanted to cry, because it's like, you don't understand how great it feels when people care so much for you that they will sacrifice their little money that they make working to help you out to achieve your dreams.
It's so like you're fighting for everybody. It's like you build this network, and it's like, this is for us. And I that's what I love about the indie circuit too, because that's what it feels like. When we see you guys perform, and we're buying your merch, we're supporting you online, it's like, you're doing this for us, so you're going into that cage for us.
Yes, I am, and it's just sometimes you can feel like a lot of pressure, but it's like I feel like it's a blessing, because people are like there when you don't even know they're there for you. So it's been so sweet. Like last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I went to PA, and there's this guy. He's been one of my main followers before I started wrestling. His name is Dwayne, and he came, and then he just gave me the biggest hug, and he's like, I am so proud of you, because I've seen you grow from when you were not a wrestler to now, and just being part of your journey, and you allowing me to be part of your journey. It makes me so proud of you, and like stuff like that. And I have a couple people like that, and I send them like thank you letters sometimes.
That's awesome. Melissa, that's so like, cool.
No, it's just a lot. I feel I feel like a lot of times when we're become entertainers, because we fear that people are going to be stalkers or whatever, we try to keep it our distance from some fans. But some of the fans have become like literally like family. When I'm like stranded in places, like I ended up like crashing at their house, because they didn't give me a freaking hotel room or something. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this lifestyle is rough. Some days I was sleeping in the Hilton or the Millennium in downtown LA. It's a 5-star hotel with, money for food and everything. The next day I'm sleeping on somebody's floor with no money to eat, So I'm gonna keep it real. Like this, I was doing that like this year because this is how much I want this, And like when I started with MMA, like I was going to my friends in LA, training with them, like sleeping in my car, sleeping in my friend's house, like because I want this and I want to get better. It's just like I will do anything. My family will sacrifice anything. My husband has sacrificed so much for me, for me to train. Like my son, I don't even see my son sometimes. I see my son like half an hour before he goes to sleep, and then I was like, all right, cool, I'll see you tomorrow. So it's like it's a lot of sacrifice, and people don't understand that.
So what's left on your bucket list then, whether professionally or personally? You've gotten those calls from WWE. Have you gotten those calls from AEW?
No. Right now, like I said, I'm gonna leave it to the universe. I speak things to the universe and things happen. But right now I'm sticking with NWA, and I'm gonna stick with them for a little bit. Like I said, I'm a pretty loyal person until I notice that things are not going well for like the company, or like things don't work well, and it's time for it. That's when it's time for you to bow out gracefully. So, but right now, man, like I cannot tell you like how happy I am with NWA, with Billy Corgan, with Lagana. Like they have been nothing but supportive. They give me the greatest feedback. They're open for ideas and stuff like that, and the product is something completely different than what it is on the market right now.
Yeah. Which
makes me very excited. It was like when I was in Lucha Underground, we were so much different than everybody else.
Yep. I was just going to mention that. I feel like you're hitting all these promotions right at the right time. Right when they're not these big corporations, but it's like you're part of making them big. Like your name, you lending them your name is making that promotion bigger, So we could only hope to see what's going to happen when you get into that cage. It is a shot of wrestling. So last question, we want you to share with us the best time you've either had with a shot or in wrestling.
No, I don't do very much, but in wrestling, man, I have so many, but I will say Japan always never let me down, man. Like my last tour, I was so excited, not only because I was going to wrestle out there, but because I was going to see my friends. So before I had a show that I have to wake up at 8 in the morning, my dumbass thought it was a great idea to go to a disco bar where you have nothing but 45-year-olds to like 70-year-old people from Japan, drunk as hell, dancing.
I can't believe that exists. That's awesome.
But, dude, it was awesome. Live dancing and drinking and listening to like live disco music. And I knew every single song in that place. And my friend was like, how do you know all this music? And I just looked at him and I said, my husband grew up in the 70s. So, yes. No, like everybody's super hammered. It's like 11:30. And then we have to go running to catch the train. Otherwise, we'll have to like sleep on a karaoke place. So we had to walk a little bit, and it was like 1:30. I don't know. It took us a little while to get where we needed to get. And then I was like, you know what? We should go and do karaoke. Why not? This is 1:30 in the morning. I didn't go to sleep until like 4:30. I had to wake up at 7:30 because I had a show at like 10:30 in the morning, 11.
But the best karaoke only happens after 2 a.m.
No, this is like open like all day. They're open like almost 24 hours. They only close like for an hour and a half to clean, and then they open again. So we stay up until super late. I woke up. We had a show, and I was the best in the ring. So, yeah, there you go.
Well, there you go. You have your MMA debut. We're going to wish you a lot of luck. Like I said before, whether you like it or not, we're all coming with you on this journey. And if we want to follow more of this journey of Thunder Rosa, where could we support you on your social media?
Check me out on Thunder Rosa 22 and Instagram and Twitter. And like my page on Facebook. Yes, Thunder Rosa 2. You also can support me by buying shirts, hats, pins, stickers, and all kinds of stuff on my Big Cartel page, which will be updated pretty soon. And what else? And just like my stuff, comment. We like to interact with our fans. And don't forget to watch NWA every Tuesday at 6:05 p.m. So keep supporting the product. Make sure you check any updates for my fight. My fight will be November 8th, and actually we will be live on Univision or on the DAZN app, Combate America.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations on all of the success so far. And I feel like there's going to be so much more in this upcoming year. Thank you so much for joining us. We're not done yet. We still have last call. Ready to stick around for that?
Yes. I'm like, my voice is right. I this is like the most I've talked in a podcast in a while. Hello, guys. This is Thunder Rosa. We had a great interview, but I want you to stay tuned to the end of this episode for the last call.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need to announce it's last call at the bar.
All right, everybody, we have made it through another great episode of A Shot of Wrestling. But just when you think it's done, they bring us back in, and we're still here with our special guest, Thunder Rosa. Welcome to Last Call. It's rapid fire questions. The first thing that comes to your mind is the first thing you should answer. Are you ready?
Yes.
Then away we go. What is your spirit animal?
Chihuahua.
What is your favorite adult beverage?
Margarita.
What fictional character would you like to face in a wrestling match?
Black Widow.
What do you eat on your cheat day?
Tons of donuts and Mexican bread.
Who inspires you?
My husband.
What is the worst job you've ever had?
The worst job I ever had? Server.
What wrestling company has given you the biggest payday?
Lucha Underground.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Whitney Houston song. Which one is that?
The one from The Bodyguard?
Yeah.
I Will Always Love You. No, is it?
Yes. Yeah, that one that you said.
I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. I hope that's correct. What is the best feature on a man?
The butt.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Zac Efron. I'm confused.
Really? Zac Efron. All right. And finally, what is the best WrestleMania of all time?
The only one that I won, WrestleMania 25.
Yo, that was a good one, though. That was a very good one. Thank you, Thunder Rosa, for joining us on this episode of A Shot of Wrestling. And we look forward to seeing a lot more of you, not just in a wrestling ring, but also in MMA.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh, my. And maybe you seem a bit confused. Yeah, baby, but I got you pinned. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.